Well, greetings and salutations, one and all, to the Super Review Show's career retrospectives right here on the Super Review Show Network. I am joined by my two incredible friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Oh, you ready to do this?
Yes, happy Labor Day to all of our American listeners and viewers out there because we're doing this now on Tuesday, September 3rd, because they wanted to take the day off and they were busy. So we said, all right, let's do it on Tuesday instead. So here we are talking today, Tuesday, about an album that came out earlier this year by Falling in Reverse, known as Popular Monster. There's their fifth album just came out back. Was it July? I forget the release date, Kyle. You gotta remind me of that.
Uh, August, I think.
Oh, so it was last month in August. Okay, so yeah,
August 16th. Yep.
August 16th. Thank you. So their most recent release, Popular Monster, came out on August 16th, and we didn't review that because we were going through our wheel, or a couple of releases came out, and we were just busy then too. But here we are today talking about Popular Monster by Falling in Reverse. This album, I'm gonna go first tonight. I'm not forced to it. I'm actually by choice, for lack of a better word. This so as someone who's not familiar with most of Falling in Reverse's career, I know a few hits here and there, kind of thing. Never really was into them fully. I do acknowledge that their styles have been very diverse, if you will. They've incorporated hip hop into their music. They've incorporated like orchestral sounds into their music. And this album kind of was a nice blend of a lot of that. It delivered most of it delivered for me, but not all of it delivered on the level that I'd like it to. But I still enjoyed what I heard nonetheless. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised about how I took most of it. As most of you may remember, I'm not the biggest fan of screaming, bloody murder vocals that are just drowned out, that are super like, "Whoa," and that's just not my thing. But I will say a lot of these tracks actually did work for me, and I'm gonna get into the track listing in a sec. But just Falling in Reverse, Popular Monster, I enjoy what I heard for the most part. So let's go right into it, shall we? The album starts off with Prequel, a very solid track that I wasn't sure what I was gonna get with this Falling in Reverse album because of the previous songs I've heard were mainly like hardcore, metalcore, new metal, things like that. There was a lot of different elements throughout this album, and I don't want to go specifically mention it track by track, but I will say that for the most part, I like the different incorporations I heard of like some sounds towards the especially towards the end of the record too, with like the big symphonic sound towards the end there. Um, but yeah, but Prequel, I'm giving this one a 7.5 out of 10 for this for to kick off the album. A very good track overall. Um, Title track, Popular Monster, is actually a 7 out of 10 for me. It's a little bit lower because it's yeah, I give it credit because for those who've listened to this at any period of time, it's a title track. I do enjoy title tracks quite a bit. I didn't realize that this track came out in 2019, 5 years ago, and it is just started. It just came out on this record now. So they've been making this sound for like over like 4 or 5 years now, which is kind of crazy. Um, but it came out on this album. But a 7 out of 10 for Popular Monster. All My Life, featuring our favorite featured member, Jelly Roll here. He just seems to be everywhere nowadays. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. This one was about a 6.5 out of 10. We went down a little bit only because of like, again, screaming vocals are not my thing, but I did like the instrumentation of the metal on there. It was actually very good production quality wise. That's why it's 6.5, but the screaming just didn't do it for me. But Jelly Roll's feature actually worked for whatever reason for me. I mean, questionable, but it worked nonetheless. I liked it overall though. Ronald featuring Tech, Nunn, and Alex Terrible. Um, it went. We're kind of a very mid track for me, kind of like a 6 out of 10. Nothing too crazy. Kind of like kind of what I expected out of a Falling in Reverse song. Let's see. And then Voices in My Head. This is an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the voices in my head quite a bit. Actually, I remember for those of you who are longtime listeners or viewers of our content, Kyle, if I'm not mistaken, played this for us as one of his tracks that was a song reaction when we first did our song reactions back in 2022. If I'm not mistaken, you
Did
played this
you?
for us. I could have sworn he did. I could have sworn that he was the
I
one
don't
who
remember
showed
which
me.
one it was, but it was one of them.
I think it was this one because I remember watching the music video for. I'm like, oh my god, that's that song. Because when we did our song reaction videos in 22, this is one of the ones that he did. And I remember this one. This is why. So I was like, all right, I'm kind of familiar now. Voice in my head, 8 out of 10 for that one right there.
Now,
Um,
JT, I just want to clarify. Did you say you like the song Voices in My Head or you enjoyed the voices in your head? I just want to
uh,
make sure
uh,
you're
Mike,
okay. I just want to get
the voice, the song is great. The voices in my own head
that.
are crawling up the wall right now.
Oh,
Um,
okay, okay. I just want to clarify,
yeah.
make sure. You,
Yeah, but
okay.
this a very good track nonetheless. I actually enjoyed it. When I heard it, I was like, "Oh my God, that's the track that Kyle played back then." It's kind of cool. So it just showed how like long they've been working on this record overall, which I was kind of surprised about how long it took to put out. Bad Guy. We go back down to like 6.5 or 7 with Sarah. I'm gonna butcher this. Sarah Sarah Beavis. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Forgive me, guys. Uh,
Uh,
I don't know, whatever. Um,
like,
again it's a good track overall. I kind of blended in with the rest of the album for a little bit there. Watch the World Burn. It's about a 7, kind of mid for me, nothing too crazy. Again, I can't believe how long these albums and these singles got released over like 4 or 5 years, and then they put out their fifth record. So that just kind of like took me by storm a little bit there. Trigger warning. This is a what do I have here? Sorry, this is a 7 out of 10. Again, it's kind of it's kind of just there for me. Zombified, I liked it, and again, showing how this st I just can't believe how long it took to put this album out. I'm just serious. Like there's it just was so much. It's like I looked up because when I was listening to it, I was like, wait, that came out in 22, this came out in 2019. I had to go back and look at how long they started to record this album for. I was kind of shocked about that, truthfully. Zombified though is a 7 out of 10, and No Fear is the 10th track on the record is actually a 6.5 out of 10. It's got some really cool elements of the hip hop and I don't want to say trap beats, but it's got like some different kind of beats and elements in there that I liked. But it still felt a little messy at some points, so that's why I gave it a 6.5. And then Last Resort Reimagined. This one just it was kind of like the last. It was a cover, but I enjoyed. It's hard to explain. I enjoyed it because of the symphonic buildup at the very end there, and then I was really surprised about how like well it was done, truthfully, um, production wise, and also like symphonic or just the strings toward the very end of the song really got to me. This is 7 out of 10 right here for Last Resort Reimagined. It was not so overall though. I mean, like, I just want to look up like how long it took to record this thing, by the way, because it was like
well, most of the songs came out. I mean, most of the songs were created for they were
Just standalone
released.
singles.
yeah,
Yeah, just the
Yeah.
what is it?
It, he wasn't gonna do albums after their coming home record. He was just gonna do standalone singles, and then I
okay,
guess at some point in the past year changed his mind and
okay,
threw it all into one album with a couple of other songs.
okay,
AKA let's cash in on that album release.
Hey, I'm glad he did because there's nothing I love more than having physical copies of things. This way, if Spotify or YouTube or whatever decides, yeah, we're not having that anymore, you still have a backup.
exactly. And I remember when Coming Home came out actually because I remember that album cover back then. But yeah, I just thank you, Wikipedia. It said it recorded from 2018 to 2020. That's a long time to record a lot of songs. Guys. I mean, just because the singles that got released and stuff like that, that were the songs that got released on online. I remember like you and I remember Kyle having like a Kyle had one of these songs as one of his listen tos on our song reaction videos. And I was like, oh, I was like, the only like song I knew by Falling Reverse was like the Drug in Me Is You by that point, and I kind of went back to a couple other tracks here and there. But no, I wasn't sure like because the recording process was just the singles took like so long to come out. I was kind of surprised at that. So needless to say though, I mean overall, I mean if you're looking for an album that is very you know you're I don't want to say you're because I can't really judge. I haven't really dove into much of Falling Reverse's other catalog. Truthfully, I just have not. I feel like that's a sin on my part for the two people I do this podcast with. But you know I liked what I heard though. I mean, when I go back to it in a year, maybe, maybe not. It depends on what mood I'm in. Like, if I'm in like a death metal, metalcore mood, probably. But honestly, I I'm giving it about a 7 out of 10 on this one. I like the album, but I think with more listens, I would probably enjoy it more. That's the way I'm feeling about this one today. So after all this time of all these singles that got released and all these tracks and all these different styles on this record too, I'm sitting at about a 7 out of 10 on this one. So this is it came out back in August and here we are today. So yeah, for me it's a 7 out of 10. But I know that Mike really enjoyed this record.
Well. So, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat of you, JT, in the sense that besides the one album that we listened to for Falling in Reverse, one of our previous reviews, what was the name of the album?
Fashionably late.
Fashionably Late,
Their
yeah.
best
And,
album.
I can't comment, nor that is I plead the fifth on that. But um, it is it is a very obvious kind of way to, Falling in Reverse and Ronald Radke's like his approach to music is very like a blend of many different styles. I feel like he's, kind of similar to my previous comment about Post Malone. A lot of artists today are chasing that kind of uh nameless, categorized, like can't be categorized, can't be defined style of like approach to music where it's just all over the place and anything can change at the drop of a hat. So that's that's always been, I feel like, you know, Ronnie Radke's like kind of MO as of late. I mean, obviously he came from that emo, kind of stuff early on. And as a person, I'm just not a fan of him and his kind of attitude towards things. And, he's just a lightning rod, and he loves it. It gets him more publicity and whatnot. But yeah, this album, it it had a couple shining moments, and then it had a lot of very similar structure, same kind of breakdown at the end every time where he says go, and it's the same. That literally, I laughed during one of those songs. It is identical breakdown to like two other songs. It's just slowed down a little bit, and there's a couple of little variations, but it seemed like the same structure, the same writing approach. Some songs blended the rap better than others, others did not. It was when those songs came through and they were perfectly layered that I would note it, and I was just like, wow. So, yeah, just kind of starting off. And he's such a humble guy. Look at him, Ronald Radke using his mugshot as his album title, and he will not, he does not fall short of mentioning that he went to jail in many, 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 many interviews, in many, many songs. He mentions it, but don't get it twisted. He is not using that to get credibility with you folks. He is just merely mentioning 1,000 times that he went to jail. So I just want to make sure we note the account. By the way, Ronnie went to jail. So he's just he mentions that quite a bit. So first song, prequel. This was actually a cool little build-up track. Like it kind of just got this kind of Eminem angry at the world, writing in his diary. What a tough thing to do to him, writing in my diary, guys. Yeah, watch out, or I'll write something mean about you. But it's got it's got some of those feelings. Like it kind of reminds me of Eminem, how he's getting mad in the verses and stuff, and um, you know, it it definitely it definitely needed to take off a little bit more, like heavy wise. Also, he hits these high notes. He does this throughout the whole album. Annoys me so much. Where he's like he just does these like random little like it's almost like someone's like, hey, by the way, I have vocal that uh like dynamic abilities here. I'm gonna do this even though I don't need to. So it makes me laugh every time he does it throughout this whole album, and they all come off awkward. But this actually was a pretty cool track. It's got some cool like a build up to like kind of a little bit of a breakdown towards the end. It's got a good pacing. So it was like a 7.5, actually identical to JT there, of a rating there. So moving right along. I mean, this song's a straight 10. Popular Monster. It is. It got stuck in my head for weeks, months, almost to a point where I woke up singing it, and it almost drove me mad, like because I was just like could not stop singing this song, could not stop thinking about this song. It's got the perfect pacing. The rap comes in, and then it just blends right into the rock, so like just seamless that it you would think that you were now listening to a rock song, and it wouldn't have felt jarring or not like it didn't belong. It was a very big treat for me, and I was like, man, if this album sounds anything like this, I'm in for a treat. Only problem, obviously I don't like the anti-God, the angry, this and that. Like I don't want to eat my vegetables. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to. I'm not going to school. You can't make me. Whatever. Like the lyrics are definitely a little brutal, but it's just so catchy. I'd give it 11 if its lyrics were a little bit more like seemed a little less just uh misfire and had a little more of that. But this is the best song on the album, Popular Monster. So I can't shy away from that. I will not hate on something because you know yeah. So then we go to All My Life. Now this is just it's a 5. It's I don't like the country blend. I think it's done in an okay way, but it feels like somebody making like a catchy pop rock country song with which at times comes off like a 90s with the scratch tables and like the way he's talking like this, like it just it's just so it just gives me the creeps. And it the production's well done, the incorporation of the different layers. It just I would not want anyone to catch me listening to this song and like also catch me watching that music video. Because if you guys haven't tuned in to that, my God, it is
Great.
not an enjoyable thing. Kyle,
Disagree. Hard disagree.
it is stomach turning. So, but I mean, it's not a horrible song. I would listen to it and be like, okay, like here it is. It's not like bad in any stretch of the imagination, but it feels a little too self-aware that it is using a very faint country element amongst a kind of very like catchy pop rock. Maybe like I wouldn't say like pop punk, but it could have some elements to it like that. Yeah, so that was a 5. Moving down to Ronald. Now, initially I listened to the song and it was an absolute mess. It streamed out a little bit more. It felt like a nod to Slipknot with the way he's doing the voice and the talking like that. It felt so much like Slipknot. I did not like the feature um of Tech Nine. Man, this is the complete opposite of well blended rock and rap. It was jarring. Like Tech Nine's verse comes in so abruptly that it almost felt like the song just shut off. And it wasn't like done in a good way where you feel like it's like used within the song. It's just, all right, guys, here's the rap part, and it's just gonna be someone saying as many words as possible. And like while that could have been used correctly, it was not done in a way. It was done in a way like, here it is. Whereas it could have done like throughout the song, there could have been a collaboration between the two voices, between the two styles. And Alex Terrible, he's a brutal vocalist, but he doesn't really add too much besides some like JT kind of said, it's a little noisy, it's a little busy, it's a little messy, feels a little and he has quite the writing and engineering crew to help him make this album. It's definitely not just Ronnie Radke, but there are a bunch of other names besides the band members. I don't think the band members even listed as in the credits of the song. I think most of these people are
Yeah,
just
the people are
engineers and
Luke. No, these are
okay.
actual band members. Luke Holland is the drummer. Max Georgiev is the guitarist. I don't think he's with them anymore.
Yeah,
Tyler
well,
Smythe is the producer.
go up for a second, JT, just to the okay, lyrics and then music. Okay, producers.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. A little too far. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, producers
Eric
Radke's
Jones is their old guitar player. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, he's got some help from some engineers and stuff like that too. Yeah, so this was a six. Uh it I like the aggressiveness, but uh it is in the pursuit of coming off crazy and extreme at times to a point where it loses complete structure and like direction in favor of just how how much layered noise on top of noise can we pile into this to show you that this is an extreme kind of song. And while that is something it can be pulled off if done correctly, it feels a little confused and yeah, just not a great song. Voices in my head. This is just five. Do not like this song in the sense of it's perfectly blended hip hop and rap, and it goes back to the popular monster in the sense that it has that very intentional uh, combination and unity of those two. But in the sense of just memorability, it's just does not hit any kind of areas that really stuck with my head in my head. It just really like the chorus and the vocals just the way he does that once again he's doing that high note like it just like it's so weird how he's doing that. It's just like and then that same breakdown I told you about that same exact breakdown is used throughout this whole album almost to a T. So yeah, just 5 out of 10 for voices in my head. Bad guy. This guy's the way he's singing is the guy that opens up. Is that Ronnie Radke or is that the Sarah Yava Beavis? No, that's a girl, right?
That's his girlfriend.
Yeah, okay. He's
Yeah.
literally changing the way he's singing for this song. Like he's trying to sound like Machine Gun Kelly, like I'm a bad guy. Like he's literally doing that thing that like pop punk people who are kind of emulating Blink 182 and like
In all
this
fairness,
style.
in all fairness on that one, that is pretty much how he sang for the entirety of their first record.
Right, which brings me to why I don't like it. Yeah, like I guess that makes sense. But it's just like that goes on this entire song. Like it does that the entire song except a couple little deviations and then back to that cadence the whole time. It just feels underdeveloped. Uh, and it just doesn't have much else to say. It does have a catchiness at first, but all in all, it just plays its cards early and bows out. It's a 6 out of 10. Uh, it's a little more that cadence, that vocal melody, and that overall sound, the way it all kicks in at some point, because all of a sudden now the guitars join and everything kind of joins in. It's a little more interesting than Voices in My Head, but not enough that really take you anywhere. Watch the World Burn. This is just another example of that like solid rap opening. I really enjoyed the rap, the flow and the just overall bars. If we'll get hit with it today. Definitely, the old guy has to, bring in the terminologies, but then it just cuts into the pop punk so fast it almost feels like his old stuff, where it's just like 1 minute it's this, then 1 minute it's that. It doesn't feel well connected. It feels like I'm giving you a showcase of music and we're just almost like flipping a coin and then playing the next style. It felt like that with the way the pop punk kind of jumped in, um and it just did not overly work. Um it just did not have that like a very authentic feel to it, a little too much. It's a 6 out of 10. Then we go to Trigger Warning. I actually like this track considerably better than some of these other ones. Um, just that once again, he has these high notes, these strange sound, random way he does his voice. It really takes me out of the song. Um, Kind of reminded me of like Disturbed and Papa Roach vocally here. Uh, and I was not in love with the track on an entire like basis, but it has enough shining points to redeem it that I was 7.5 uh, which is considerably better than the others. This song actually warmed up to Zombified. I think when Kyle had sent me this, I was just kind of meh about it. I was like a five. I like that opening riff they have. Just the chorus is good, but not again the sound of his voice, the way he sings. Sometimes it sounds so whiny and so kind of just the vibrato, and like he's doing some Queen like effects in this with like just some of the high notes, and it just does not fit. But overall, the song has a good flow to it. That same breakdown, as you listen to this album, you begin to. It almost feels like you're looking behind the curtain, and they have a board, and it's just written up like, all right, we got to start with this, go to this, and then we're gonna end with that same go and the same breakdown every single time. And it almost feels like you don't want to see how what's in going into the hot dog, because then you're gonna start realizing that it's just like a lot of like just kind of stuff that's just regurgitated, reuse, recycle. And yeah, just 7 out of 10, a little bit better than the others. So then we go to No Fear. This was like the straightforward hip hop track. Gives me that Eminem feel again. He gets like mad during his raps, and man, that breakdown and the again, it just bizarre. Literally, it's just like there's a breakdown after the rap, and you're like, oh, it's gonna get heavy, and then it just goes away after like 20 seconds, and it just felt like. And then he even joked um that there's a drop and you can try to tell him to stop. He's even joking that he does the same drop and you can't tell him to stop, and he'll do it and you'll love it anyway. Ronnie punching you in the face with some truth. Like, I could put out a track of nothing but me just calling out my haters and you'd give this a great rating. Like, yeah, I don't know about that, Ronnie. I think it's time to go back to the drawing board on that one. But yeah, it's just vocally, it's weird. And I said this to Kyle last time, and I still feel this way. There are at times when I think you could take a Falling in Reverse album and take Ronnie Radke out of it and put in another vocalist, and I would actually bump this up a couple points, because while he is like has some dynamics to his vocals and he does do some kind of tricky kind of things and emotionally and passionately, his weirdness to the way he's pronunciating his words, the way he's you know changing his voice in a certain way, it really takes me out. It makes me laugh out loud at a lot of his um the way he just says things with a certain kind of whine to his voice. And it just does not, it's never something I've really liked. So I actually would love to hear that, an album minus Ronnie Radke. That would actually be something I could get behind. And then and then last but not least, a straight 10 banger, Last Resort. Great reimagination, reorchestration, kind of re-outfitting of the Last Resort cover of Baba Roach. That's it. I'm blanking on their name. It really contains some great musical kind of accompaniment to the original song, but like changes its like almost pacing and its overall configuration almost, but uses enough of the soul of it alongside that epicness to really just like hit it home. Great job. Any of these songs he's done have really shown that I almost kind of wish I could hear a whole album of this, of different like classical reimaginings of like songs. Like, man, like I am just dying to hear that. It could be my first 10 out of 10 album from or maybe it'll go under Ronnie Radke's solo project. I don't know. It would be really cool to see. So ultimately I gave this album a 6. It was, I could probably go 5.5 because at times it does really, it hits that predictable out, just pattern where you begin to see how each song just kind of treads on the same instruction, same uh thing that it does. And that makes you feel a little less excited to really sink your teeth into some of the the songs and the different parts of them because they just kind of have the same aftertaste of the other songs. But yeah, I'll stick at a 6 just because those two tens plus a couple good bars in the rap area, blending with rock is done very well in a bunch of songs, not so much in others. But not as bad as his previous work. That, my sirs, is a wretched thing. So 6 out of 10.
Kyle looks like he's about to kill someone.
I could not disagree with you harder, Mike. This is a terrible album. No, no. I think it's no surprise to anyone here that I love this record. Been a massive Falling in Reverse fan from the day that first single came out, anticipating it after, hearing he got out of jail and he was doing his, finally putting out some music again. And this is not disappoint. I would say the only thing disappointing to me about this is the fact that we heard all but 4 songs prior to the album's release. To me, that's always a detriment. But I mean, also the album cover, bad album cover. It was a funny joke, but you know, could have maybe like upscaled the image a little bit more. It's like super grainy too. Like I don't know, doesn't really work for me. Uh, but I mean, starting with prequel there, you know, it's really cool to go into a Falling in Reverse album with an intro like this, especially considering it does start with a track that we didn't hear before the album's release. And you talk about, how Popular Monster was released 5 years ago. I mean, we're talking half a decade. And this is an artist that was saying for years how he's not putting out any more albums because the standalone singles do incredibly well, which they do. I mean, they all chart. They're one of the biggest rock bands out there right now. They're playing like amphitheaters and arenas, so they're doing something right. So it's great to go into a new Falling in Reverse album here and a track I didn't hear before. And it was interesting to me at first because I really didn't expect a NF style track here. I mean, this sounds like it could be 100% a track from like NF, one of his last like couple albums. It has that same beat to it. It has that same buildup that he does all the time where he just gets angrier, angrier and angrier, which is in and of itself, I agree with Mike, or kind of a take on like that Eminem style. But I mean, this specifically with that beat in there, 100% NF. Uh, it does a really good job though, building suspense throughout it and like building up that like epic ending that it goes into. Shockingly enough, the ending is my least favorite part of the song, and this is the one area where I'll agree with you on, Mike, where the one song that high pitch thing that he does is a real detriment to the song. I don't, I can look past in the other songs, it doesn't bother me, but on this one, it just does not sound good. Uh, so I mean, good intro to the album. One of my lower ranking ones on here with an 8. And that's saying something. You're in
Eight
for a
is
lot of tens.
lower.
Oh, Mike, you're in for a lot of tens going down this track list, buddy. Popular
Um,
Monster, couldn't agree more, Mike. 10 out of 10. I mean, this song was released 5 years ago, and it sounds just as good as the day it came out. I never get sick of it, which is really a telltale sign of a great song. The songwriting is perfect here. The transitions are smooth as hell. The lyrics I personally like. Uh, the instrumentation is very well written. The breakdown in there is great. There's a reason he's reused it 5 other times after this. The melodies are awesome. The chorus is super catchy. It's really just a perfect example of like genre blending done very well. It builds upon itself the entire time. Really just an incredibly well written song from any artist in any genre. 10 out of 10 easily. And Mike, you just hate fun, don't you? All My Life with Jelly Roll, best Jelly Roll feature we've gotten all year. He's been everywhere. We talked about that last week. This is just so much fun. It's super catchy. The music video was stupid. It's definitely the best or the worst music video of all the tracks that have videos from here, but it's fun. It's stupid and fun. I like that. This brought me back. I'm not too shocked that you didn't care for this one too much, Mike, because this really just shot me back to like that Fashionably Late album where it's just fun and stupid for the sake of it. Uh, I just really liked it. I think it's a really nice blend of metal. You got like the pop inspired vocals on there. the country, you know, a little taste of country in there, and then you got that like hip hop record scratches that are like straight out of the late 90s, early 2000s. I really like it. I thought it was done very well.
It
And
kind of reminded me of My Life is a Video Game and blah, blah, blah.
of
That
course,
like
one
that.
of the best songs on that
Ugh,
album.
one
Great
of the
track.
worst
Great track.
grotesque things that I've ever had Kyle inject into my ear caverns that I just wanted out. But yeah, like this kind of reminded me of the way
Hmm.
he's talking like this. I'm just telling you, I just don't, I'm
Oh,
not
for
a
sure.
bubblegum uh pop punk like that fan of that style, yeah.
But, you know, as an aside on this though, I really like this current trend that bands have been doing the past like year, maybe two, of mixing a little bit of country in with the metal stuff. I think it works very well. You know, Beartooth did it when they had what's that guy's name? Hardy featured on that track and did very well. Uh, so yeah, another 10 out of 10 there. Going into another 10 out of 10, which really built up over time for me with Ronald. Completely agree, Mike, that when I first heard this, I was like, this sounds like it's just a chaotic mess. I was like, this, nothing works together in here. But over time, this is honest to God a top tier, one of my favorite Falling in Reverse songs. Like, hands down, I love this. I actually really like Tech Nine's verse on here. It's very kind of like by the books, Tech Nine. When you see him featured, you kind of know what you're expecting and did really well. But what I like on this one is he changed up his flow multiple times throughout his verse in a way that I thought really worked. And then, that end with Alex Terrible. Terrible's a damn monster on the vocals. I mean, that dude is insane. Having him and Ronnie go back and forth like that with some of Ronnie's best, harsh vocals that he's ever done on recording, it is really cool to hear. Great song, 10 out of 10. Just really love that one. Voices in my head, as JT said, I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones. I think I also had you guys watch the world burn in the reactions. So maybe it's both of them, but you know, so I won't go into voice in my head too much there, but 10 out of 10 on this one, same reasons as back then. Love the lyrics here. Really like the rap flow here that goes into the seamlessly integrated with the rock and metal aspects. Really, really massive chorus here. Like this one was made for like amphitheaters and arena sing-alongs. The breakdown on here is great. And Mike, he doesn't say go before every breakdown. Sometimes he switches it up and says move. So just
Oh,
want to
my
throw
bad,
that out
my
there. Yeah, yeah.
I stand
Yeah, give the guy
incorrect.
some credit.
I mean, maybe you could throw in a bleh or something like that. I mean,
Well, no, Mike, we're going modern here. Bleh is a little too mid 2010s. We're trying to get away from that now. It's all about go
yeah,
and move.
yes. Okay, well, I got you. I'm
Yep.
going and I'm moving. I got you.
And now here we go with Bad Guy. Another fun song. Not one of the best though. This is it's an 8 for me. I think it's a catchy song. Completely agree. I don't know why he's doing that, weird thing with his vocals on it where he's trying to make it sound like he used to sing years ago. I think it'd be better if he didn't. There's also some electronics going on that I don't think they serve the song very well. They sound corny and not in like a good way. Other than that though, the melody is super catchy, just really overused. It's repetitive. It's the entire time is pretty much the same thing over and over with different words, other than the I'm the bad guy part, whatever. But it's really fun. It's really catchy. I could see this going over pretty well live. I believe he did add it into the live set for this tour, and I could see that going over well. Watch the World Burn though, 10 out of 10. Incredible
Wait, what did you
song.
get, bad guy?
8 out of 10.
Oh, you didn't say
Yep. Watch the World Burn, we got a 10. Again, another example of Ronnie's songwriting ability here and the ability to, blend genres pretty seamlessly, I thought at least. I actually really like that like operatic part going into that breakdown. That ending is great. He really showcases like that fast rapping stuff on here, really Eminem inspired stuff. Again, not going to get too into it since we already talked about it once before. And then trigger warning, best song of the unreleased ones beforehand. This one, straight 10 out of 10. Love the message on this. You know, I'm a sucker for any like the anti-cancel culture songs, and that's pretty much every song on this album, save maybe Last Resort. Uh, but this one again, the dude knows how to make a chorus. And this song before the chorus has a really good swing to it and a really good like swing and groove that some of the other songs don't have. Leading into this massive chorus, it's great. And that like piano like breakdown, I guess that's present throughout the last like half of the song is incredible. It's one of my main major highlights on this entire record. Something that we haven't heard on a previous song by them ever, other than I guess the reimagined songs, but even then it's not, like kicking into gear like that. It's just like slow classical piano. Really cool. Wish it was a little bit longer, to be honest with you. Zombified, 10 out of 10 here. This one, and here's where it gets interesting on the last three songs for me, is this is one of the few songs that really, actually maybe the only song here that drops the rap aspect nearly completely in favor of a more like radio rock, straightforward radio metalcore type track. Uh, Lyrically, I love it. It's another absolutely killer chorus. I really like the harmonies on this one. So again, another place where me and you were differing on there, Mike. I loved the use of the harmonies on here. Yeah, very Queen inspired. Totally agree with that. I thought it was well done. I didn't mind the high pitched vocals on that one. No Fear, another 10 out of 10. I actually really like, I think I'm in the minority on this from what I've seen online. I actually kind of like that ending. He sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I love the beat on that. I look because he was intentional. He's intentionally done. This is a straight rap song, minus that one little trolling breakdown that he put in there. And I appreciate that. It actually made me laugh the first time I heard it, but in a good way. Because just like you said, Mike, I thought we were getting like, oh, here's a heavy part of the song, but within like 5, 10 seconds, it was done and right back to the rap, and then it went into the like an almost like very like Suicide Boys, if you know who they are, very like Suicide Boys styled rap. I thought that was really cool. Some, another style of rap we hadn't heard him done in the past. Really great track. And Mike, you're gonna kill me. My least favorite song on here. I still
Really?
like it. Yep. It's a 7 out of 10 on Last Resort. And my reason for that is it's a very interesting take on a modern classic. I mean, Last Resort's one of the most iconic songs of that era. And having it this way is very unique. And I really like what he did there. And overall, I enjoy it. It's nowhere near my favorite. I wish they didn't end the album with it. It kind of feels more like a bonus track than the closing to the album, if I'm going to be honest. But also, I just think it kind of goes on a little bit too long. I don't think it does, other than that, the big operatic part where it gets like really epic. I don't think it really does that many interesting things compared to the Drug and Me is reimagined and like the I'm Not a Vampire reimagined one that they did. I thought those were significantly more interesting. Don't get me wrong, this is very good. His musicianship on this, rewriting it this way is great. It just doesn't hold my attention like the others do. So I mean, 7 out of 10. I still like it. I still listen to it. So I mean, overall, this album, it's great. I mean, I've been listening to it nonstop since it came out. Haven't gotten sick of it yet. We're going almost a month in, I guess. And yeah, I'm sitting at about 9.25 on it. I wish that there was more to it. I think that another song or two could help. The runtime does feel like it goes pretty quickly. I would probably replace Last Resort with something else and just have it be like a standalone single like the other reimaginings. Like Mike said, if they did a whole reimagined album, I think that'd be sick. That'd be awesome. I know he did Popular Monster. He teased that he did that one reimagined on like a Twitch stream years ago, and he never put it out. So, that would be cool to get one day. But yeah, 9.25 on this. Glad we got another Falling in Reverse album. Uh, Hope we get another one quicker than 5 years, but I guess we'll see.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. Kyle absolutely loved it with a 9.25. Mike loved it. Well, Mike thought it was okay. What you said? You said a 6 out of 10. Is that what you said?
6 out of 10. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably
I'm sitting
accurate.
about a 7 out of 10. So Mike is the villain tonight. Uh,
Who
unfortunately.
could have guessed that?
Who could have guessed it? Thank you to all of our chat board viewers and enjoy and commenting in on the chat board. I just want to give a quick shout out to you guys for a sec. Someone just said, I just watched him live in the Woodlands and it was an epic show to say the least. Thank you for commenting out there. We appreciate you. We do the show live for all of our podcast listeners on Monday nights, but because it was Labor Day, we're doing it today on Tuesday. And yeah, thanks for commenting for that. I appreciate that. But we want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoy us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into our show as always. Kyle, the Q&A podcast is up now or is it not up?
Nope.
Okay.
It'd be nice if it was, huh?
Yes. But it'll be up soon though, right?
Yeah, I'm sure within the next week or so.
Okay, cool. And Mike he has this podcast and that's about it. So it's okay. No, but needless to say that it was this is a very good album overall. A very interesting listen overall for someone who's not fully into them and someone who knows them quite a bit. So it was a good conversation today, guys. But thanks so much for watching, listening, however you enjoy us tonight. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages as well. Simply at the Super Review Show, Instagram, Facebook, simply at the Super Review Show. And we'll be back next week. Do we decide what we're doing next week? Are we finishing off the wheel or no? Or is that Blink
Or are
182?
we finishing up the wheel with your pick?
Yeah, right. I think so. We'll figure that
Yeah,
out.
because
Anyways,
Blink-182 comes out this Friday, so we gotta have time to actually listen to it.
okay, right. So yeah, so we're gonna finish off the wheel
Mike
next
needs
week.
time to sit with that one.
Mike can't wait for Blink 182.
Y'all just love punishing me, man. I'm in the booth with the apples, throwing the apples at the target, and
Oh my
just
god.
you're like, oh, this one will hit the target. Let's get this one. Jeez.
Oh my god. No, but in all seriousness though, next week will be an album that was on the wheel, and I'll explain when we go into it more next week. But yeah, it's my last pick that was on the wheel. So and then if that Blink 182. So yeah, but stay safe, take care, and